episode of Structure. I am Elle Stone, and I go by the Ancient Ninja. Today, I am going to be reading a CIA declassified document. If you're new to this channel, I read my first one called Operation Mind Control. Really great document and book, so I'll link that after this video is over. Definitely got to give that a watch. This document is a bit different. It is not on the corruption of the government, though that is implied just by, the fact that this is declassified and seen as pseudoscience. So the title of this is called Superpowers Said Studying Psychic Phenomena for Military Use. This document goes into quite a bit of detail about the government and their knowledge of psychic powers. So let's start reading. This document was created on November 12th, 1985. It was approved for release August 10th, 2000. Byline by Christopher Hansen, Washington, November 12th. Military agents with extrasensory perception, ESP, are put to work reading the minds of enemy generals 5,000 miles, 8,000 kilometers away, and visualizing secret war plans locked in safes. Government agents with another bizarre mental power, the ability to move physical objects without touching them, and to affect the pulse rates of human beings, use their skill to sabotage weapons and cause heart attacks in enemy leaders. Scientists use a machine to extract a mysterious form of energy from the brain and use it as a death beam. These cases from a hypothetical mind war are the stuff of science fiction, but a U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, report expresses fear that a major Soviet psychotronic research effort may be developing just such mental powers. Soviet and Czech psychotronic research has powerful potential for use as an effective weapon against groups of men and leaders, according to the report of a copy which was provided to Reuters by a private source. Some skeptics have dismissed reporters about Soviet psychic experiments as disinformation aimed at confusing the West. Many mainstream scientists reject psychic research. Even so, Washington is backing its own research into psychic phenomena, and this year doubled annual funding to $1 million, scientists who have worked on U.S. psychic projects say. Sources close to the U.S. experiments say the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, once funded tests in which psychics sitting in a laboratory and given map coordinates of military bases and nuclear plants in the Soviet Union described those sites in detail that was consistent with the CIA data. A CIA spokesman would not comment on whether or not such tests had been conducted. The Pentagon denies funding psychic studies, and a CIA spokesman told Reuters, "We have no ongoing program for psychic research." But a 1983 congressional report confirms the U.S. government has funded psychic research. Scientists Russell Targ and Keith Haray say the Center for the U.S. Psychic Research is SRI International, a private institute in Menlo Park, California. They describe what they say were their government experiments for SRI in a recent book, The Mind Race. An SRI spokesman declined to comment on funding sources. Targ and Haray say that for 13 years, SRI has carried out multi-million-dollar series of U.S. government experiments in remote viewing, which they describe as the perception of events, objects, or people which are hidden from the five senses. In these experiments, they say a psychologist would sit with a psychic subject in a laboratory while another scientist would stand at an unknown site, sometimes thousands of miles away. The subject would attempt to describe the site of which he had no prior knowledge. In many cases, the scientist said these descriptions of objects as large as clock towers and as small as pins were remarkably accurate, the evident result of some telepathic mental process not yet understood. Targ told Reuters Soviet scientists have shown great interest in their research, have met them in the United States, and invited them to the Soviet Union for talks. The Russians were especially interested in whether a way could be found to screen off secrets from psychic intrusion. The DIA reports Soviet and Slovakian parapsychology research is based largely on Soviet scientific literature and describes a large-scale Kremlin program, including mind-over-matter experiments, a field known as psychokinesis. It is said in one set of experiments, a Soviet psychic stood in a laboratory beside a frog's heart, which had been surgically removed and kept beating artificially. As she concentrated on controlling its beat, the rate of the contraction increased or decreased at her command. And 5 minutes after her experiment began, she stopped its beat entirely, the report said. Her ability might be used against human targets, it said. The report said Soviet scientists had reported on experiments in which psychics moved or levitated objects through mind power. It said in other experiments reported by Soviet scientists, psychics hypnotized people hundreds of miles away by telepathy. Much Soviet research described in the report deals with the theory that psychic abilities stem from a form of brain energy that can be identified. Soviet scientists have developed a machine they say can extract energy from the brain and report that flies exposed to a beam of such energy died instantly. If such devices can kill insects at present, their potential after refinement and enlargement may well be for killing men, the report said. The 1983 congressional report summarized in this way the objects of mainstream scientists to psychic research. Poorly conceived methods, including inadequate controls, faulty equipment, experimental bias, selective treatment of data, and general experimental and theoretical. Yeah. So this is definitely one of the wildest documents I have read that was declassified by the CIA. It really goes into detail about some of the psychic abilities that they already know about and ones that we're capable of. And one of my favorite parts is where it says, much Soviet research described in the report deals with the theory that psychic abilities stem from a form of brain energy that can be identified. Soviet scientists have developed a machine they say can extract energy from the brain and report that flies exposed to a beam of such energy died instantly. I mean, that's just insane. They're saying they took the energy from specifically someone who is psychic, who has tapped into their psychic abilities, and the energy they extracted could kill flies instantly. I mean, just imagine how powerful you are when you really, really can apply this. And everybody is psychic. Everyone has the ability to be psychic. So it's just something that you have to tap into and you have to really, really focus on about you. So yeah, this is this entire document is accessible online. I will link it here in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments, what your opinions are. Are you someone that is psychic? Do you have psychic abilities? If so, what is something that you have or that you've practiced? I know I am more of a mental psychic. I'm not sure if I can do telekinesis or move things with my mind, but I do know that I have quite the mental ability. I wouldn't necessarily say just telepathy, but some other things. Maybe I'll go into them on a video sometime in the future. But as always, keep it pointy.